Okay, Standard 9 says the student will identify individuals relating to the course of the Civil War. I highlighted that for you so we could focus on that. Individuals relating to the course of the Civil War. 9C is what brings that out. Describe the role of Ulysses S. Grant, Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, William Tecumseh Sherman, and Jefferson Davis. So our focus is on the leaders, the major people involved in the Civil War. So we'll take a look at Jefferson Davis first. Jefferson Davis was the presidency. He was the president of the Confederate States of America, what we call the Confederacy, CSA, instead of USA, CSA. And this is a flag here of the Confederate States of America. It's actually a battle flag. There's a different flag for the government. But he is the president of the Confederate States of America, the southern country, supposedly, that created itself first in Montgomery, Alabama, and then moved to Richmond, Virginia. So he's the opposite of Abraham Lincoln. He's the president of the South. All right. Stonewall Jackson. This is Thomas James Stonewall Jackson. They call him Stonewall Jackson because at Battle Bull Run he was sitting on a horse, and they said he looked like a stone wall standing there. He was Robert E. Lee's most talented general. He's going to be a Southern general, and he aided the Confederate army at the victory at the Battle of Chancellorsville in 1863. There he was shot and killed in friendly fire, and he died there. All right. Robert E. Lee was the general of the Army of Northern Virginia. In other words, he was the head honcho, the head general for the South, or for the Confederate States of America. And his army was called the Army of Northern Virginia. That's Robert E. Lee. Many of you might know that name. The General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard show, the car called General Lee with a rebel flag on it, refers to this general, Robert E. Lee, commander of Southern forces during the Civil War. Ulysses S. Grant, some people called him Uncle Sam Grant or U.S. Grant, like United States Grant. He was the head honcho or head general for the United States during the Civil War. So he was the equivalent of the Southern version of Robert E. Lee. And U.S. Grant, or Ulysses S. Grant, was the commander of the Army of Potomac and the Potomac River running right past Washington, D.C. And he's the Union general, head honcho in charge of the North's war effort. Okay, and the timeline here shows that on April 9th, 1865, that Lee from the South surrendered to General Grant. So Robert E. Lee here surrendered himself to General Grant here on April 9th, 1865, right here to end the war. Okay, at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia to end the war. All right, William T. Sherman, or William Tecumseh Sherman, is this guy here. And William Tecumseh Sherman used this strategy known as total war. Ulysses S. Grant used it too at Vicksburg, siege of Vicksburg, we're going to talk about. Strategy used by William Tecumseh Sherman during the Civil War, and he used it to make people feel the hard hand of war by burning their homes, killing animals, ruining crops, and destroying railroads. And he had this theory that fight is not just against the men in uniform, it's also against the civilian population, to get them to put pressure on their politicians in the South to end the war. And so he went on. His most notorious or noteworthy was during the Civil War, was when he headed down to Atlanta, the Battle of Atlanta, took Atlanta, burned it to the ground, and went on his march to the sea all the way to Savannah, Georgia, and destroyed everything in its path. And he did this to cripple the South's will to survive. That's Sherman, William Tecumseh Sherman. Okay, that's it. That's pretty much what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to look at Ulysses S. Grant's role, Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, William Tecumseh Sherman, and Jefferson Davis. If you have any further questions, just ask me in class. If not, just watch this video over again.